There is something terrible on the loose, and I believe it is haunting one of the 4 NFL teams you see on your screen right now. By the end of this video, I'm going to reveal which one. But before we get there, I'm going to tell you what this thing is and exactly how to defeat it. So listen closely, because if you are going to take on the burden of saving your franchise, you're going to need more than just hope. You're going to need, well, my expertise in this area, and also probably a weapon capable of defeating something ancient and evil. So if you have an occult librarian in your area, you might want to check in with them and see if they can point you in the direction of a blacksmith trained in this sort of thing. I never said this would be easy. Also, in the spirit of draft season, we are going to check in with Mr. Demonverse at NFL High midway through, as we continue our all-multiversal mock draft with picks 11 through 15. Maybe this time we'll do something a little different. Is the creature you're going to reveal later a vampire? Okay, Josh, if it were a vampire, we'd be hearing about bloodless, lifeless bodies just popping up in one of those cities. I'm gonna need you to be responsible before you speak, because you're gonna get these people all riled up. Now, for those of you who have been inside the Demonverse for a while, you already know that the Minnesota Vikings are the first team I'm removing from this list, because I have already revealed which fiendish character has been torturing them. And you can find out all about that in this pre-Demonverse back issue, which I will also link at the end of this video. That's assuming you make it that far. If they don't, doesn't that just mean they turn the video off? No, Josh, I wasn't going for an I'm not interesting enough theme. I was going for an if you survive by then theme. Then why didn't you just say that? Because looking at your haircut is throwing me off. Seriously, do you pay somebody to do that to you? But before I reveal the next team, let me offer you this warning, and you may want to bookmark this issue, because you might need to reference it again in the future, and having it handy could save a life, perhaps even your own. Now, people throw the word cursed around when talking about their franchise's misfortunes, and I've been known to do that myself. But I've discovered something after all the countless hours I've spent researching ways to save you all. The term is not only overused, it is also inaccurate. For the most part. While curses can and do exist, for example, I have been cursed with the presence of Josh, who, thanks to his less than talented hairstylist, you might confuse with Blanche from the Golden Girls at first glance. But most franchises, they are not cursed. They are possessed. Possessed by things that are parasitic and feed on pain and suffering. Now, these things can be defeated, but just know once you think the nightmare is over, another usually rises to take its place. That's how this works. You defeat one evil and something worse might be lurking close by, waiting to strike while your fan base is still drunk on hope and off-season hype. And if you're an Eagles fan, probably an obscene amount of cheap hard liquor. And there's only one way to know with certainty that your team has temporarily broken free. Win a Super Bowl. How long they stay free after that is anyone's guess. It varies, so Kansas City fans, stay alert, because whatever force someone defeated just as Patrick Mahomes arose from the shadows may have awoken. And I don't know much about that yet, because that all occurred before I took the blood oath that bound me to this channel. Now I'm about to reveal the second team I'm removing from this list, but if you'll notice, we are in the lore section of Demon Manor, which I find suitable given the subject matter. And Josh, why is the Roger Goodell photo on the floor? There was no room for it on the wall. All right, well, we're gonna have to figure something out before we film the next issue in here. Is the creature haunting one of these franchises a vampire? Okay, for the last goddamn time, I said, no, Josh, it is not a vampire. Well, the next team I'm casting aside is the New Orleans Saints, and I swear to God, Josh, if you make a vampire stock comment here, I am going to lose it. Now, don't be fooled. Something treacherous has certainly taken hold of the New Orleans Saints. Now, is it the same thing that was responsible for their misfortunes from their inception up until the moment it was destroyed, right around the time Drew Brees and Sean Payton won the Super Bowl? It just might be, and we will dive deeper into that in a future episode, I assure you. See, this is a team that was once led by a man who is essentially to the NFL what King Charles is to England, Archie Manning. You recognize him, you know the name, but he's never held any real power. His kids, though, they certainly get a lot of attention. That family breeds quarterbacks like they're mogwais you accidentally spilled water on. And I find it a little suspicious that Bill Belichick is suddenly great friends with Eli Manning, don't you? Kind of reminds me of Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, where Dr. Doom assumes godlike powers and creates a new reality called Battleworld. In this reality, he positions himself as a father figure to Franklin Richards, son of Reed Richards, who in this reality is unaware of his true parentage. Now, Franklin Richards is insanely powerful, so you assume Doom set this up because he wanted to harness Franklin's powers. And Bill could be doing the same thing with Arch Manning, setting up his triumphant return to the NFL and timing it perfectly with Arch Manning's entrance. So Arch is Franklin Richards? And Belichick has got Emperor Doom. But God Emperor Doom fails, though. Okay, Josh, if I were you, I would not let Belichick hear you say that. Feels like a good spot to head over to NFL High, doesn't it, Josh? Feels like a better spot to ask people to subscribe to the channel if they haven't. Josh, begging people to subscribe to the channel gives me the same feeling in the pit of my stomach that I'm sure Wolverine's son Jimmy Hudson had when he arrived in Earth 616 after Secret Wars, and was mistaken by the people there for the very creature which I believe is haunting the fan base I will reveal at the end of this episode. Is it a vampire? Are you kidding me right now? Okay, I'd like to discuss the NFL draft before I get to the age where I start looking for discounts on cemetery plots. Yeah, the creator says you've got plenty of time for the cemetery thing. For now, he would like picks 11 through 15 to be chosen from a pool of mythological creatures. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna go with Cyclops then. Why Cyclops? Because Cyclops is considered one of the weaker mythological creatures, and we typically take guys like that in the draft and turn them into something no one sees coming. You know what? This is boring. I'm changing the rules. You'll now be drafting from a pool of 80s and 90s Saturday morning cartoons, and since you chose Cyclops, San Francisco, I'm giving you X-Men the Animated Series. Okay, but if I get that many mutants, then the rest of the league should probably fold. Jerry says not so fast. We're going with the Looney Tunes because no matter what you do to them, you cannot hurt them. And they are also insane, which is right on brand for you. Miami, you're up. Considering who Dallas and San Francisco took, I think the safest bet might be to go with the Jetsons. And since they're based in the future, I'm thinking they could match tech with the X-Men animated universe. Miami, the Jetsons are from the year 2065, and Cable is from the year 3999. This is turning out worse than the Tua over Herbert miscalculation. Do the Looney Tunes time travel? Yes, but only as far as the 24th and a half century. Indianapolis, you're up. I think we're gonna go with Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Dr. Doom was in an episode of that series, and he can build better tech than the Jetsons and X-Men combined. He also stole a magical amulet in that episode, which was meant to give him ultimate power. Oh, nice, so it makes it even better. Not quite. It accidentally landed in the hands of a janitor who then seized that power and left Doom frustrated and powerless. You should have gone with the Super Friends. Atlanta, you're up. Can we go with the Super Friends? I don't see why not. Awesome. San Francisco, tell your X-Men they are screwed. Will you tell the Wonder Twins to get ready for Wolverine to slice them up into quadruplets? Oh, please. All they have to do is transform into Jean Grey and Madeline Pryor, and that takes care of Wolverine and Cyclops. You seriously telling me no one thought to go Thundercats? You are all stupid. Vegas, that's detention for forgetting about Masters of the Universe. I'd like to point out that I'm aware some of you use the NFL High intermission to look up the Jimmy Hudson reference. That is cheating. And yes, I know exactly who you are. I'll let it slide this time, but just be aware in the future there may be severe consequences. Tread lightly in the Demonverse. The rules do not favor you here. Now, before we get to which team has been caught in the icy grasp of this team's terrible grasp, Buffalo Bills or the Green Bay Packers, the time has come to reveal the creature itself. Now, here's how this is gonna go. I reveal the creature. Then I give you clues about why it's doing what it's doing, and more importantly, how to stop it. Then I'll tell you the fan base. Oh, sorry, I missed the first part. Could you just, back up and repeat that? Josh, you are frighteningly close to not surviving this episode. This fiend, as you may have guessed, resides in the northern part of the country. Its name? The Wendigo. It is bone white and moves like the wind between the trees. You don't see it till it's already fed, but by then you're not just losing games anymore, you're losing your mind. So it's like a snow zombie? No, Josh, see, it's not undead. It makes the undead actually look like, well, Buffalo's recent playoff runs. And why is it haunting this particular team, you ask? Well, that's a tale as old as Jerry Jones, who, for the record, I believe is eons older than he claims. That's a topic for a future video. Now, defeating this monster should be easy enough, but unfortunately, I doubt the proper steps will ever be taken. Because even if the fan base flooded the team's front office with phone calls and emails, they likely wouldn't budge. Just like Silver Shamrock didn't care on Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, when Harry Grimridge went missing and his daughter enlisted Dr. Chalice to go find him. Donald Cochran simply laughed it off and carried on with his prank on the children. Most evil horror villain ever, by the way, and I don't think it's close. But I digress. So how do you defeat the Wendigo, you might ask? Well, the answer is, you don't. Not directly. You can't kill it, so don't even try. Trust me, that will not end well. The only chance you have is to change the team name and relocate, because this creature protects the North. And a while back, along came an entertainer/hunter who decided to roam the plains that the Wendigo was sworn to guard, and thought he can go around slaughtering the very beings this creature was bound to. He disturbed the balance, and how was he rewarded? With fame, fortune, and having an NFL team named after him. And to make matters worse, naming the team after the guy doesn't even make sense. He wasn't born there. He didn't live there. The man's name was Buffalo Bill Cody, and the team's torment was brought on by a bunch of fanboys. It would be like naming an expansion team today in North Dakota the Dakota Fannings because her fan club thought it might be fun. Well, being hunted by the Wendigo is anything but fun. And by now, you should know I'm talking about the Buffalo Bills. Most team names give you a mental image. You could picture a pack of lions or a herd of rams. But can you picture a bunch of guys named Bill? Are they all clones? It is the worst imagery in NFL history. There is nothing less terrifying. What about a group of packers? I guess that would come down to one question, Josh. What are they packing, and can they use those things as weapons?